Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Today's guest is Mr. Alex Mapleton. He is the author of Knanaya History, Heritage and Heroes, and that is this book. And also he produced a CD called Nasrani Particle. He is a physical therapist from India, migrated here in United States 1968, that is before I born. And he was living in Detroit, and he was very much involved in music and fine arts. And he also have a master of genetology from University of Michigan.
And then another master's from University of Detroit in physical therapy education.
Physical therapy education. On behalf of all my viewers, I'm welcoming Mr. Alex Mapleton to the show.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to be with you.
Not a problem. So tell me, what is Knanaya means? A lot of our viewers are not familiar with the term Knanaya Catholics. Could you please explain to them about what is Knanaya and what community is Knanaya community?
The name, the term Knanaya derives from the leader of a group of 400 Catholics who migrated from southern Mesopotamia in the 4th century to the shores of Kerala in order to reinvigorate and rejuvenate the Christian faith. His name was Thomas of Knai, and the people who followed him and their descendants are called Knanaya Christians. And among the Knanaya Christians there are two groups, the Knanaya Catholics and then the Knanaya Jacobites.
Could you explain a little bit about how the Knanaya Catholics ended up in Kerala and India, and their journey of evangelization and social service, their contribution towards the history of Kerala?
The history says that St. Thomas, who we call the Doubting Thomas, came to the shores of India in the year 52 AD, and he was looking for preaching the good news in different parts of the world. He was deputed to come to Kerala because originally the intention was to spread the good news, Jesus' good news, to all Jews first, and it was believed that there are Jews who lived in Kerala at that time, so the intention was to reach that. So he came over, and then he was able to convert many of the Hindus living in India at that time. So he built 7 churches in Kerala, beginning from Kollam to north in Nanayankara, which is Kodungalur. And then he went to China and came back to India, and he achieved his martyrdom in 72 AD. He died in Mylapore, and his remains were buried in Mylapore. Then later, of course, he was transferred to Rome. So this was the pocket of Christians who remained in India. But because this being a predominantly Hindu country, the history says that gradually the faith deteriorated. By the time 4th century, the bishop in Edessa had a dream that there was Christians in India who are kind of failing in their intensity of faith, and they needed help because they didn't have seniors, their priests or other clergy to guide them and control them and continue to guide them in their faith. So he was asking for people how we can help those people. And Thomas Knai, who was a trader, who was a businessman who was frequenting the coast of Kerala, India, for trade, to buy spices and other things from India to bring to Middle East. He was familiar with the plight of the Christians here. So he was asked by the bishop whether he could undertake a journey and he volunteered to do that. So he came with 400 people in 3 boats. He picked people from 72 families belonging to 7 sects, 7 clans, so that there is a variety of people. So they arrived, it is believed, on 345 AD in Kodungalur. And since he was familiar with the emperor of there, the emperor received him with great honor, and then he continued to live there, and he was able to reinvigorate the Christianity in India.
So what happened once they reached, part of India, that is Malabar coast of India, called Kodungalur? So what happened immediately after that?
One of the advices given to them as they were parting the shores of Iraq, Mesopotamia, was that they should continue to retain the intensity of their faith. So they were asked not to marry from outside the community. So this was a means to an end. In other words, in order to retain the intensity of their faith, they were asked not to marry from outside, because they had some bad experience. The prophet Ezra had always banned people from marrying outside. So this was one of their ways to maintain the intensity, because the intention was to continue to rejuvenate, to improve the faith of Christians in Kerala. So they remained as a separate group. They were living in one section of the town, while the old Christians, the Syrian Christians, who were about 100 families at that time, were living in another part of the city. It continued, and over the last 16 centuries, the Knanaya Christians, they have tried to maintain their traditions and all those customs, which are partly Judeo-Christian in origin and partly, now we would say, Indian. So that tradition, that practice of marrying within the community, that's called endogamy, still continues. But again, the intention was, they are here as missionaries, so their purpose is to
stick together and
continue as good missionaries, good messengers of Jesus' news,
without distracting distracting and diffuse their group. Already there are a group of Christians who've been converted and baptized and converted to Christianity, living in the big country of India, and this Knanayas came to help them to stay in faith. So how was their relationship in early days?
There was harmonious relationship between the two groups. Each one realized why they were maintaining their traditions. But one of the good things that happened was Thomas of Knanaya. He had several qualities. First of all, he was a great businessman, and he realized that unless we can retain some level of nobility, their message may not be received well by the high class. India had 4 castes. Brahmins were the high caste, and the intention was to absorb as many of the people belonging to the higher caste. That way the message will filter down to the other castes. So in order to retain that kind of nobility, he was able to get what we call 72 privileges from the chairman Perumal, the king of the land at that time. And those privileges helped the Christians to retain that kind of nobility, and they were able to continue to spread the good news. And one of the good things is that all the Christians at that time were able to enjoy the same privileges. Couple of other things we need to say about how Thomas Knanaya was able to be a good leader. Not only being a missionary, had the courage to undertake this perilous journey from Mesopotamia, from Iraq to Kerala. Then he continued to do business, and of course then he was bringing with him a bishop and other members of the clergy. So he was a very good leader was able to maintain good coexistence between the clergy and the laymen, which sometimes you miss today. The other thing, he was also a very patriotic man. He was able to persuade a group of tradesmen who left the shores of Kerala, who fled to what you call Sri Lanka now, which was Ceylon then, because they had some quarrels with the king. He was able to persuade them go to Sri Lanka and bring them back. He was able to bring them back, who left the shores of Kerala. He was able to bring them back as a patriotic effort. And again, of course, he was a smart man, so he was able to retain all those kind of good qualities, and that enabled all the Christians to retain some level of, I say, supremacy, even though it doesn't sound good, but at least they were able to command the respect of the community.
Oh, okay. So he was a respected businessman and a leader and a moderator, or he was like he was a good man and well respected by the community at that time. What happened to him after that? Do you have any information?
We don't have good history now. Say whatever we have in terms of the migration and all that is very sparse. There are about 3 or 4 sources from where we have grabbed and we are able to gather and put together some kind of history. First was what we called a copper plates, in which the king had bestowed some of the privileges. They were all inscribed on plates, and I think some of them are still preserved in the British Museum. And then of course...
Okay. Oh, 1 minute. So it is, you mean the chaped is still preserved in British Museum?
British Museum, that's what.
Okay.
But I think some of the copies are available at Columbus, Ohio, and there are some pictures of that in the book.
Oh, in your book?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, it is the copies of the
chaped, the copper plates, the inscription.
Okay.
Which tells all the different privileges that in one of the universities that I was told, one of the libraries.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a good information. So this the original chaped is available in British library, and the copies of that is available in one of the universities in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, that's a good information. I didn't know that. Oh, okay. So what happened after the Natu Christianing, or the local Christians who been baptized by St. Thomas, their ancestors, and the new Christians came from Mesopotamia or Edessa. So how was their life in Kerala? The journey of evangelization. How was their life and their community life?
What we believe is that they dispersed to different parts of Kerala.
Okay.
The Knanaya Christians were mostly in parts like Kodungalur, Kadthurthi, Chungam, Kallisheri and Kottayam. Whereas the other Syrian Christians, they were all over the place. And we probably, Knanaya Christians, remain more as communities in different parts of Kerala, in different
pockets
towns,
of Kerala.
And these 4
What
or 5.
is the reason they be like a small pockets in Kerala? Is there any reason, or they just want to stay together, or?
Probably that's the only thing we can any group would like to stay together, to have a sense of belonging, sense of security.
Okay.